Okay, so we are going to continue with Throw Your Tooth on the Roof, tooth traditions from around the world. And we're going to be reading about Eastern Europe and North and Central Asia. Okay, and that's over there on the carpet on that yellow area starting to go into the green area. Alright, and so there's a country called Georgia. We do also have a state called Georgia. But this is a country. It's in a different part of the world. It's over there, near where you're sitting. Alright, and this is what happens in Georgia. I throw my tooth high up on the roof of my house, and I say, "Mouse, mouse, take away my spoiled tooth, and send me back a strong, healthy one." So there's that mouse again. And then Kazakhstan. I drop my tooth under the bathtub. So under the bathtub. That's a different one. And say, "Mouse, mouse, bring me a new tooth, please. We don't have any mice in our apartment." But I do it anyway. Okay. And then Kyrgyzstan. I roll my tooth in bread and give it to an animal, preferably to a mouse, because they have healthy, sharp white teeth that grow quickly. If I feed it to a dog, I might get ugly yellow dog teeth. Okay, so in Kyrgyzstan, they think it depends on what kind of animal you feed the tooth to, what kind of tooth you will get in return. And then in Moldova, I throw my tooth on the roof of the house and say, "Crow, crow, coming from the mill, I am giving you a milk tooth. Now you give me a bone one." So hoping for the crow to give him a new tooth. Russia. My mother said to put my tooth in a mouse hole in the ground. And then Tajikistan. I sow my teeth in the fields and they grow up to be warriors. So sow means plant. So this one believes if they plant their teeth in the field, the teeth will grow up to be warriors. Then Lithuania. I keep my tooth as a keepsake. Okay, I think a couple of you might have said you get to keep your teeth, too. Even if you have a tooth fairy that comes. You have a tooth fairy that lets you even keep your teeth. Southern Asia. Southern Asia. Okay, and that's in the green part, over there on the carpet. First we have Afghanistan. I drop my tooth inside a mouse hole, saying, "Take my dirty old tooth and give me your small clean one instead." That's a cute little picture of the mouse by the hole. And then Bangladesh. I throw my tooth in a mouse or rat hole and hope the mice will give me back strong white teeth like theirs. I usually get a present when I do this. Okay, so some of you guys said you get presents from the tooth fairy. They get a present when they throw their tooth in the mouse or rat hole. And then India. I throw my tooth on the roof and ask the sparrow to bring me a new one. So sparrow is a kind of bird. So before we heard about a crow trying to get giving a new one in Moldova. So this is a sparrow. Now we have Nepal. My mother and father say that if a crow or bird sees or eats my tooth, a new one won't come in. I bury my tooth in the garden and cover it with soil. Or I might cover the tooth with cow dung or mud and throw it on the roof so it will be hidden. So the key in this case is to keep it hidden so the bird doesn't see it. They don't want the bird to get it. So two kind of different traditions. And now Pakistan. I wrap my tooth in cotton. At sunset, I go to the river and throw my tooth in the water. It will bring me good luck. And if no river is nearby, I will throw it in a good site, like a garden. So they pick a good spot for the tooth and throw it there. Then we have Sri Lanka. I close my eyes and say, "Squirrel, squirrel, take this tooth and give me a new one." Then I throw the tooth on the roof and run into the house without looking. Sounds kind of fun, actually, doesn't it? I bet the squirrel would get it. Now we've got Southeast Asia. Okay, and we're still on the green part there. Except we're getting a little bit over to the eastern part. A little more to the east, yes. Closer to where your hand is. Okay, and even a little more southern than that, too. So there, and then even southern. There's going to be some more green down there on some islands. Yes. So we have Malaysia. I bury my tooth because it is a part of my body and needs to be returned to the earth. That's interesting. Then Cambodia. If I lose a lower tooth, I throw it on the roof. If I lose an upper tooth, I put it under the bed. My parents tell me that the new tooth will grow toward the old one and come in straight. Okay, so it depends on which they lose, an upper or lower, what they do with the tooth in Cambodia. Now we have a country called Indonesia. I throw my tooth backwards over the roof. My mother says I must throw it very straight so that my new tooth will grow in straight. Isn't it interesting how there's so many different kinds of beliefs? And especially about being straight and sharp and clean. when it comes to teeth. Philippines. I hide my tooth in a special place and make a wish. A year later, if I can still find my tooth, I can make another wish. So that's kind of interesting. You get to go out and hunt for your old tooth a year later. Singapore. I throw my lower teeth straight up to the roof so that my new teeth will also grow straight up. I throw my upper teeth straight down to the ground. If I throw them slanted, my new tooth might grow in slanted. And then Thailand. My sisters and brothers tell me to throw my lower tooth on the roof and put my upper tooth under my bed or on the ground. So that's interesting, isn't it? About putting the upper tooth one place, lower, and the lower tooth another place, usually up, and trying to get it straight. Then we have Vietnam. I throw my lower tooth on the roof and throw my upper tooth under the bed. Okay, so that sounds pretty similar. Now we have East Asia. Okay, and that's all the way over there to the very east. Okay, near where your feet are, yes, where you're pointing, and those islands even that you're sitting on. Okay, that are all in green. That's China and Japan and Korea. Taiwan. All right, we say in China, I put my upper tooth at the foot of my bed and the bottom tooth on the roof. My parents say that it will make my new tooth grow in faster. And then I put my, this looks like another one for China. I put my upper tooth on the ground and my lower tooth on the roof. My new tooth will be pulled in the opposite direction and will grow quickly. And we've got Japan here. If I lose an upper tooth, I throw it in the dirt. If I lose a lower tooth, I throw it on the roof. My new tooth will grow toward the old one and will come in straight. In Korea, we've got, I throw my tooth on the roof and say, blackbird, blackbird, my old tooth I give to you. Bring me a new tooth. So there's a blackbird. So we're hearing different kinds of birds. And then Taiwan. I throw my tooth on the roof. All right, so lots of happening about on the roof. And then the last ones that we're going to read about. Okay, so we've kind of gone all around to the different continents that people live on. And this is Australia and New Zealand. And you're going to find that right over there. I can't quite see what the color is, but you guys are pointing to it. It's red. Yes. Okay, Australia is the bigger one, and New Zealand is the smaller one, off to the eastern side there. So there's a few different things. So there's Australia, which is the big red country, continent. I put my tooth under my pillow and wait for the tooth fairy to take my tooth and bring me some money. It sounds familiar to a lot of you. Now we have the Aboriginal Australians. Those are like the people that were living in Australia for a long, long time. Okay, before other people came. Before the Australian people that we know today came. They're kind of like, we have Native Americans or Native American Indians. They're like Native Australians. Okay, is what, if you hear the name Aborigines or Aboriginal, that's what that means. And it says, my family helps me put my tooth inside the shoot of a pandanus plant, so that when the pandanus grows into a tree, my tooth will grow too. There are spirits in the pandanus leaves that will look after me while my tooth is growing. All right? And then the New Zealand Maori. So New Zealand is the little country that I told you about off to the side there of Australia. And in New Zealand, the Maori people are like the native New Zealand people. Okay? It says, I put my tooth under my pillow. My parents will collect the tooth and give me a small gift. Then they will throw my tooth into the mighty river, the Waikato. My tribe is named after the river. So this is a Maori tribe. All right? And that's what they do with it. And then the final thing this book says to us at the end of these stories is, teeth fall out every day all over the world. What do you do with yours? And we did talk about that already a little bit, and there's some great information back here about teeth. Oh. All right, very interesting information about teeth if you want to take a look. And we already read the author's note here. So everybody around the world loses teeth, and they do things differently with them. What I'd like you to do is I want you to turn and talk for just a couple minutes about what surprised you or what made you interested in this book and what questions you still have. Please turn and talk.